Okay. Hare Krishna. So we are in third canto. Last chapter we have seen around 15, 16 verses we have completed. Third chapter mostly. We'll complete today. So 33rd chapter. Okay, I'll just show you the. I'll just see the. We'll just see the summary. Uh, Basically, 33rd chapter is like a winding up chapter where Kapil Muni is being prayed or offered prayers by Devahuti in the first 8 verses, and then till 32 approximately. How she performed activities, different activities after Kapil Muni left to forest. Of course, regarding Kapil Muni, last sections, some verses will come again after leaving where all he went. So majorly Devhuti's main focus is here, how she performed austerities, how she achieved perfection. So that was a main section, one of the main sections, major sections. So Devhuti's prayers we have seen almost till 15, 16 verses. We have seen how she was, after Kapil Muni left, she was in her place only and proper focused on particular themes, how she was ideal three places. Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. She was, sorry, she was under her son's care, especially care means enlightening, spiritually enlightening. That is a real care. So Kapil Muni taught her. Of course, she was mentioned as Nitya Siddha. She was already having that Vatsalya bhav towards her son, towards Supreme Lord. But still, as a lesson, as a teaching, how she was taking teachings from Kapil Muni and she perfected her life. Also, then in due course, after the Kapil Muni went to forest, she performed austerities in home. So the environment is described in what kind of environment she could perform that kind of tapasya. That was explained. So that is a very one of, but of maybe in a very austere. We have so many examples. Chaitanya Charitamrita from Krishna. Today I am in really difficulty. Devati was in difficulty. I am real difficulty. Sometimes same net, same place, same system, but without Krishna's mercy, nothing works. Same Gandiva, same Ratha, same arrows. Arjuna thought, I will win, I will conquer. But he could not even conquer the simple cohorts. That was his realization. Things are beyond my control. Please forgive me. I was changing 2, 3 nets, but let me see. So yeah, Devati, yeah, whatever situation we are in, whatever difficulties, like Sudama was poverty and troubles, difficulties, but still he could focus on devotion to Supreme Lord. And famous examples of or two devotees, Shrutadev and Bahulashva. In Krishna book also, Prabhupada narrates the wonderful pastime. Shrutadev and Bahulashva. Shrutadev utterly provocated, but Bahulashva was stinkingly rich. He was a king. Krishna, 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 Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hmm. So, Ashok and Bhulashram both were in ecstasy when they received Krishna, and they focused on. They were not influenced by the circumstances. They are not influenced by. They are not affected by their circumstances and conditions around them. That is the real sign of advancement that we also can check in ourselves. A real sign of advancement. We are not disturbed. We are not disturbed means our service or sadhana is not disturbed by the external circumstances. That means we are advancing more and more. Our sadhana, our seva, rather more of our service attitude is not disturbed by the circumstances. So that's one of the main symptoms of advancement. One is a seasoned devotee, and there is a seasonal devotee. Seasoned devotee means seasoned means you might have heard seasoned. Season. Season means there are two terms. I mean, two ways of connotations for the word season. Seasoned. In carpentry, also they use word seasoned, especially for wood. So wood is seasoned means the wood. If you make any application, chair, door, window, any etc., any article, so it will not be affected by the weather, whether winter, summer, rainy season. The shape will not be distorted. It will remain as a chair only. It will not look like a mat after in some seasons. Or if you make a door, it will remain a door. It will not be a swinging or like any kind of a curve later on. Its season means it's perfect. I mean, it will not affected by weather. That is also one word used for carpentry. Seasoned. It's not affected by weather. Seasoned is also used in culinary, cooking industry, food industry. Season means any season food means food. We prepare boga and afterwards finally we put dhania patta or some any special flavor if it's sweets. So decorations. It's called season food. Seasoning of food. So it adds to the flavor. It adds to the look. So this is called seasoned. The word. So it's not both ways. It's used seasoned word connotation. So bhakti, both it should be also seasoned in two ways also. It should not be affected by weather. Weather in sense, I'm not a fair weather devotee, then usually they say. Means when the season is good, I practice. Oh, I'm feeling very wonderful today. I like to chant 16 rounds. It's really a test for me today. Who is season dude? So it's really testing me. I'm continuing without any. Of course, I should not trouble all of you at the same time. I don't know, somehow and everything is same, but some. Okay, if it happens next time, maybe I'll change the place itself. Maybe I'll go to some other room or some other place. Let me check there at least. I'm changing the different nets, but seems some issue. Okay, so here, yeah, season has that. I mean, we should not be affected by our sadhana, our service, not affected by external things. And also, it season according to food. When we are saying adds to flavor, yeah, we still offer our devotion in spite of all the difficulties, not in a grudging mode or resent mode. We do our sadhana or seva advancement. That really needs an advancement internally. So then only we can joyfully Tenukampam Susumikshamano Bunjana Evatmakrutam Vipakam Rudvag Babir Vidadan Namaste Jivetayo Muktipade Sai Vak Susumikshamano. So we are longing for the mercy of the Lord. So that's kind of a advancement we are looking for and longing for. So that mother Devhuti, though the external circumstances were very opulent, but she was not at all affected by the- She was very much focused on devotion. So that is the main point of that, that north only first towards northeast, and then he came back to Ganga Sagar to settle in. But so now also it's very famous. In January, it's famous Ganga Sagar Mela. I think in January, I think they celebrate great festivals, Ganga Sagar Mela. There in near Kalka, of course, where the ocean Ganga meets the Ganga meeting the ocean. There they celebrate. The Kapilashram is there now also, very famous. So this they celebrate festivals. So 36 to 37 is Falashruti about the whole section itself. Okay. So we have seen around 15, 16 verses. So yeah, 16. So Dehuti achieved perfection. Opulences of palace of Karnamani is explained. So, so in spite of opulence, Dehuti lamented for her son because he left the palace. She was not attached to the palace, but she was attached to Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama. Okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Maybe we will just see for 5 10 minutes. If nothing is working, then I may will pause today. Maybe tomorrow we'll try to see the situation to dissolve. So Kapil Muni left to Gangasagar and then follow Shruti. Okay, we'll come to the topic. Thanks. You are in. Yes. This we have seen how Yogeshwarya, she was not at all affected by all these things. Even the Takulians was sometimes envied us. That was last time in which Devati is trying to perform austerities. So how generally it's tough when the circumstances are very much not favorable, but still we are focused. That also shows the advancement level. Those circumstances are quite distracting or tempting. That shows the depth of spiritual realization and the glory of the practitioner, just like Haridas Thakur are the examples of all the kings, Dhruv Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj, all they are great, great opulence kings, but still they are focused in worshipping the Lord, serving the Lord. So that's the beauty of bhakti. Text 16. Payafena nibhashaya danta rukma parichadaha asanani cha haimani susparshastaranani cha. Yeah, please read.
The opulence of the household of Kardama Muni is described.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, shall I read?
Yeah, please. I think some voice is breaking in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, please continue.
The opulence of the household of Kardama Muni is described herein. The bedsheets and mattresses were all as white as the foam of milk. The chairs and benches were made of ivory and were covered by cloths of lace and golden filigree, and the couches were made of gold and had very soft pillows.
Hmm. So opulences are explained in terms of their beauty, their rarity, and their the the costly. I mean how much they're priceless. That's how they described. स्वच्छस्फटिका कुड्येषु महामारकटेषु च रत्नप्रदीपा आभान्ति ललना रत्नसंयुताः.
The walls of the house were made of first class marble, decorated with valuable jewels. There was no need of light, for the household was illuminated by the rays of these jewels. The female members of the household were all amply decorated with jewelry.
We are unable to hear you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, now it's audible. Please read.
The walls of the house were made of first class marble.
We heard the translation. Yellow lines you can read. Yellow
Pra-
highlighted portion.
Prabhuji, actually screen is not visible to us.
Really? Oh,
Yes.
1 minute. Once again I'll share.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Is it now?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. Now it is visible.
Okay.
The clothes are also mentioned as being decorated with golden filigree. Everything actually had some value. It was not like the furniture of the present day, which is cast in valueless plastic or base metal. The way of Vedic civilization is that whatever was used in household affairs had to be valuable. In case of need, such items of value could be exchanged immediately.
Yeah. Prabhupada brought a practical point that in case of need, such items of value could be exchanged for immediately. Means keep for some, they say for exchange, the money, they exchange money, as Prabhupada explains later on. So in case of need, they can have some money in exchange immediately. There are exchanges for money lenders and householders. These are the exchanges, I think. These are the exchanges for the money lenders and householders. They keep their valuable things with them and they bring money and again they get back their valuable things later on in case of emergency, etc. So at least they have some valuable things in the home. But no one give anything for plastic or base metal. So that means opulence, Prabhupada is glorifying the opulence of Vedic civilization. गृहोद्यानं कुसुमितै रम्यं बह्वमरद्रुमैः पूजद्विहङ्गा मिथुनं गायन् मत्तमधुर्व्रतम्.
The compound of the main household was surrounded by beautiful gardens with sweet, fragrant flowers and many trees which produced fresh fruits and were tall and beautiful. The attraction of such gardens was that singing birds would sit on the trees, and their chanting voices, as well as the humming sound of the bees, made the whole atmosphere as pleasing as possible.
Here the natural beauty is described, the nature's beauty. So one thing is we can understand that mode of passion can be like valuable items. All those things as I explained, very expensive items are mentioned previously, jewelry, all these things. The gold, generally it is in mode of passion. Nature is in mode of goodness. The nature, the greenery, or any the sunshine, the moon, the sunrise or the sunset, all these are all natural beauties, and it's a mode of goodness. Fresh fruits and fresh flowers, birds are singing. This is considered like a mode of goodness. So she is not even affected by these modes, passion, or especially mode of goodness also. She was not taking pleasure in them, but they are assisting. All these circumstances are assisting her in her penance, austerity. But she was not disturbed by them. Oh, it's so beautiful. Let me enjoy here. It's a natural place. Let me take some rest. Right? Any place depends on person's mode. The place also affects. Let us suppose uh, if you are going in a bus, a train, if you see a particular nature uh, garden or kind of forest, anything, depending on the mode, one will be affected. If a person in a mode of kind of touched by ignorance, oh, wonderful, how wonderful it is. If I am there, then I could have good rest in this forest or and the shade of the trees. In the mode of passion person, they may have, okay, they will try to picturize their romantic ways. Okay, we can enjoy here in the forest atmosphere. Movie songs they show in duets ways. But in mode of goodness person, he always thinks, okay, if I can only have book with me or poetry, he can just sit under a tree and keep on reading the whole book, or can have a good reading in terms of without any disturbance from all others. There's a mode of goodness, writing poetry and all. They choose a very secluded place, writing poems or any very contemplative. Even for devotees also, they go to very, I mean, especially Prabhupada also used to write it early in the morning. It's very peaceful, very conducive for writing, thinking. So the mode of goodness. So it depends on person. Mode which is in the place also affects. So similarly here, these circumstances are not affecting her at all. All this mode of passion or even goodness also. Though it's a very wonderful atmosphere to spend time. Yatra pravistam atmanam विबुधानुच्चर विबुधानुच्चरा जगुः व्याप्याम् उत्पलगन्धिन्याम् कर्दमेनोपलालितम्. Yeah.
When Devahuti would enter that lovely garden to take her bath in the pond filled with lotus flowers, the associates of the denizens of heaven, the Gandharvas, would sing about Kardama's glorious household life. Her great husband Kardama gave her all protection at all times.
Please continue.
The ideal how husband and wife relationship is very nicely described in this statement. Kardama Muni gave Devahuti all sorts of comforts in his duty as a husband, but he was not at all attached to his wife. As soon as his son Kapiladev was grown up, Kardama at once left all family connection.
So Prabhupada mainly points out that how it's centered around renunciation. I mean, centered around in the sense of spiritual attachment than the material attachment. So all the maid servants, they're glorifying how great Kardamani he was, and how great devotee he was, and she was very much remembering, not in a material mode, but in a how he was protecting her, how he was helping her in many ways in spiritual advancement. So Devhuti demonstrated all these statements of Manus Samhita. Prabhupada, as I explained, how she was under father, great king Swayambhu Manu, later on marriage under Kardamani, and then at old age she was under protection of the grown up children. In general principle, Prabhupada explains, according to Manu Samhita, how she was how the woman generally, she's always under protection. The protection is that's what Prabhupada's main point about Devahuti. As a child, she was dependent on her father. Later, she was dependent on her husband in spite of her opulence, and she was later on dependent on her son Kapil Dev. That's a perfection. Uh, that is the main point Prabhupada brings out. Text 20. Hitva tadipsitamam apyakandalayoshitam किंचित चाकार वदनम पुत्र विश्लेषणातुरा.
Although her position was unique from all points of view, saintly Devahuti, in spite of all her possessions, which were envied even by the ladies of the heavenly planets, gave up all such comforts. She was only sorry that her great son was separated from her.
Though there was so much of opulence is there, but still she was lamenting, not material lamentation, but it's a spiritual lamentation, separation rather. Putra Visleshana, by separation of her son, Atura afflicted. So that's the spiritual affection. Prabhupada explains, yeah, please read both red and blue.
It may be questioned here that if Devahuti was not at all sorry to give up the material comforts of life, then why was she sorry about losing her son? Why was she so attached to her son? The answer is explained in the next verse. He was not an ordinary son. Her son was the supreme personality of Godhead. One can give up material attachment, therefore, only when one has attachment for the supreme person.
Hmm. So that is the main point of attachment. She is attached spiritually. Param Društva. Param Društva Nivartate. Prabhupada quoting from second chapter. So higher taste. So when we lose that, when we may hanker it more and more. Vanam pravrajite, vanam pravrajite, patya, apatya, virahatura, ज्ञाता तत्त्वाप्यनष्टे वस्ते गौर इव वत्सला.
Devahuti's husband had already left home and accepted the renounced order of life, and then her only son Kapila left home. Although she knew all the truths of life and death, and although her heart was cleansed of all dirt, she was very aggrieved at the loss of her son, just as a cow is affected when her calf dies.
Hmm. So Vatsala, a beautiful example also given that the cow and calf, how they are very much. Of course, some of you may have experience when the cow gives birth to calf. We cannot even go nearby. Generally, I mean, unless you are a very taking care of person, we cannot go any new person, any unknown person just going towards calf. She is really in the angry mood, and she will really into angry mood. So that's how she was very much. She is very much a cow, very much attached to calf. But when she loses the calf, how much she was grieving. Similarly, Devati was spiritually in a great separation, a great depression caused by parental love for the Lord. Mm. Yeah, please read this one.
The example given here is that Devahuti became just like a cow who has lost her calf. A cow bereft of her calf cries day and night. Similarly, Devahuti was aggrieved and she always cried and requested her friends and relatives, "Please bring my son home so that I may live. Otherwise, I shall die." This intense affection for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although manifested as affection for one's son, is spiritually beneficial. Attachment for a material son obliges one to remain in material existence, but the same attachment, when transferred to the Supreme Lord, brings one elevation to the spiritual world in the association of the Lord.
Continue.
Even every
Every,
every woman can
yeah,
qualify herself as much as Devahuti and then can also have the Supreme Godhead as her son. If the Supreme Personality of Godhead can appear as the son of Devahuti, he can also appear as the son of any other woman, provided the woman is qualified. Should I continue?
yeah, continue.
If one gets the Supreme Lord as a son, one can have the benefit of bringing up a nice son in this world and at the same time get promotion to the spiritual world to become the face to face associate of the personality of Godhead.
Yeah, Prabhupada basically and giving encouragement and inspiration how we also have the opportunity if you invite a great son who is the embodiment of devotion. The opportunity is for everyone, as Prabhupada mentioning, provided we are qualified for that. So that's a great encouragement and inspiration, and Prabhupada's such an amazing point here. So anyone can have Supreme Lord, but provided we are qualified. So that's a beautiful point. But one point is that spiritual attachment, though she was crying, I cannot live without her, without him. That is only spiritual attachment. But material attachment will cause us go around and round and round. So whether attachment is spiritual or material, how we come to know? How we come to know? Please share some reflection or understanding how we come to know what kind of attachment we have, spiritual or material. Any points? How I come to know that I have a spiritual attachment. Let us suppose I have my laptop. Whether I have a spiritual attachment or material attachment, how I will know?
Hare
That
Krishna, if we progress in our devotional service, that means we have spiritual attachment.
okay, you are saying that in spite of the, if you are progressing, if you are using or if you are able to progress in the spiritual life, or if you are increasing, progress means we are increasing our service, increasing our service
Yes.
attitude. That
Yes.
means we have spiritual attachment. Yeah, good point. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, if we are using that thing for spiritual purposes, in the sense you said the
Hmm.
laptop, so if we are
Correct.
using for giving classes or making notes on that or something like that in connection with the Lord, then it is spiritual. Otherwise, we are using it for our sense gratification. If we are seeing movies or something on that.
Definitely, of course. I mean, we have a broad contrast you brought out. Definitely, generally as devotees, we don't see it as a. We don't see any movies, etc. Definitely, yeah. But let us suppose we are practicing devotees, and we have many resources like laptops, mobile, home, cars, etc. All these things. How we come to know that at what point, what are the symptoms that we can see that it's becoming, yeah, as you mentioned that, yeah, if we are progressing, that means in a general way, we can understand that we are increasing our service, we are increasing our service attitude also. That means we are spiritually using them in service of the Lord. That's a good point. Anything more?
Even if that thing is taken away from us, then if that thing is taken away from us, then if we get angry and like that, if
Yeah,
negative emotion,
correct.
then it is a material attachment. But if
Yeah,
it is a Krishna's will, so that is a spiritual attachment.
yeah. This is one of the major symptoms that when the thing is taken away, either service, we may be preaching in one area, I may be preaching in one area, one program. I was, if I was told, oh, give up that program and start another program. Then if I'm becoming angry, I'm shouting and yelling, how can you do that, this, that? Then it's more of a material attachment. When the superior says, it's not for you, another devotee will take up, or other Matajis will make garlands. Okay, please continue other service. Another Mataji will cook for the Lord. You please do other service. When we are asked to change or when we are taken from that service, how we react, how we respond. So that shows where or what kind of attachment we have. So that there should not be resentment or grudging or angry. So that kind of emotions should not. They're the signs of material attachment. So definitely, we are all sadhaka levels. We will have that kind of emotions, but we need to understand. Okay, I am at this level. I need to improve myself. So good points. These are all some. Of course, Devati, though her son was taken away, she was. Yeah, she was not angry, but she was grieved. She was crying. Please let me have my son back. That means I am longing for that kind of attachment. If only if I have that kind of association, I can be more Krishna conscious. I can render more service. I can be more inspired by that association. Oh, I don't have now that kind of association. Especially when Arjuna lost Krishna is when Krishna left this planet. If you all went through the first canto, 10th chapter. There we can see how Arjuna was so much lamenting. How there are so many sections are there. Bhumi Devi was very much lamenting how I lost my lord, and Arjuna was lamenting, crying, and how bereft of Krishna's association. So these are all especially spiritual attachment, spiritual side. One is not angry, or one is not grudging, one is not resentment, but one is longing for that. That longing is only expressed externally as a crying and affection, etc. So good point. Okay. So तमेव ध्यायति देवम् अपत्यं कपिलं हरिं बभूवाचिरं बभूवाचिरतो वत्स निःस्पृहा तादृशे गृहे. Please read.
O Vidura, thus meditating upon her son, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Kapil Dev, she very soon became unattached to her nicely decorated home.
So what should be the result? Result of meditating on the Lord should be detachment, unattachment. Detachment, not unattached to all the material opulences. Here is a practical example of how one can elevate oneself in spiritual advancement by Krishna consciousness. Read this one.
Unless we are able to transfer our attachment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no possibility of becoming freed from material attachment.
Prabhupada mentions sense gratification and Krishna consciousness go ill together. Okay. Grieving in separation. My mind cannot give up seeing the Lord as my son. Mother Devotee is saying, going to a solitary place for a moment, concentrating my mind, giving up the idea of my son, I will practice meditation on Kapila as Kapila taught me. So this verse describes that practice. So these are all internal dialogues Devotee was having. So Acharya's revealed what she was going through. She was saying she's practicing now. Now that kind of lamentation or the whatever she's very much feeling, that feelings she kept aside, and now whatever he gave me the practice, let me practice that. Let me practice that meditation. So emotions will be there when we lose something. Immediately there are a lot of emotions. But yeah, just like when Srila Prabhupada left this planet, there was so much of emotional crisis during that period, 77 November. Everybody is in a dilemma and separation, emotions. But yeah, many leaders were focused on the teaching. So what Prabhupada taught us, so let us focus on teachings and service, etc. It is said that that December marathon was the highest book distribution scores 1977, that December. So they thought that we can reciprocate to our spiritual master by executing his instructions, what he taught us. The same thing about His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. This December marathon was dedicated for him in remembrance of him. Everybody did their best because remembering their instructions, that is the main important. So giving up that idea of my son, she practiced meditation as Kapila taught. Even Arjuna also, if you remember the 10th chapter, he was lamenting, but immediately he thought of what Krishna spoken in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Geetam Bhagavata Jnanam. So Geetam Bhagavata Jnanam. Whatever Krishna gave me, Geetam Bhagavata Jnanam. So he remembered immediately that Gita and Shantasid Vimalamatihi. He became pacified by that remembrance of instructions. There are beautiful verses are there how Arjuna again remembered the instructions given by Krishna on the battlefield. And by that he pacified once again and he focused on his duty. So similarly here Mother Devotee instruction and she's remembering the instructions. So now she's practicing. She meditated on the form of the Lord. Sentence will continue on 26th. 3-4 verses. Her practice is described. Dhyayati bhagavadrupam yadaha dhyana gocharam sutah prasanna vedanam samasta vyasta chintaya. Some other devotee can read, maybe the devotees.
Thereafter, having heard with great eagerness and in all detail from her son, Kapil Deva, the eternally smiling personality of Godhead, Devahuti began to meditate constantly upon the Vishnu form of the Supreme Lord.
They want to meditate on constantly upon the Vishnu form of Kapil Muni. Kapil Dev, she started meditating. Having heard with great eagerness and in all detail from her son. So whatever she heard with eagerness, that only we will remember. That only we will able to remember in times of need, eagerness with enthusiasm. That Gajendra section also, very famous verse is there. Very famous verse that एवं व्यवसितो बुद्ध्या प्राग्जन्मनि अनुशिक्षितं अनुशिक्षितं, what he heard, what he learned in the previous life. Pragjanmani anusikshitam. Gajendra, in the crisis, he could remember what he learned in the previous life. So that's how, that's when we learn something, it will definitely come to our rescue. That's why Prabhupada mentions there in Gajendra section that one should at least practice some mantras and memorize those them with great eagerness and enthusiasm and great love. They will definitely come to help in times of crisis also. So whatever we read here, great eagerness, enthusiasm, they will definitely help us. So she started meditating on them by practicing the meditation. Bhakti Pravaha Yogena Vairagyena Baliyasa Yuktanushishthana Jatena Gnanena Brahmahetuna Vishuddhena Tadatmanam Atmana Vishwatomukam Swanubhutya Tirobhuta Maya Guna Visheshanam.
Anuj. She did so with serious engagement in devotional service because she was wrong in renunciation. She accepted only the necessities of the body. She became situated in knowledge due to realization of the absolute truth. Her heart became purified. She became fully absorbed in meditation upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all misgivings due to the modes of material nature disappeared.
She became fully absorbed in meditation upon Supreme Lord. All misgivings to the modes and material are disappeared. Especially these are all in for the sake of teaching the conditioned souls. She's trying to teach, but she's always perfect in her meditation. Heart is purified, everything is mentioned, like a conditioned soul is mentioned. How one should take up the spiritual life seriously. And the growth of practice need to be seen in terms of the advancement. Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anardhani Vritti, heart became purified, Anardhani Vritti, fully absorbed, Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti. So these are all different stages that one goes through as one seriously practices, seriously engages in devotional service. ब्रह्मण्यवस्थितः मतिर्भगवत्यात्मसंश्रये निवृत्ता जीवा जीवापत्तित्वात् क्षीणा क्लेशाप्तनिवृत्तिः.
Her mind became completely engaged in the Supreme Lord, and she automatically realized the knowledge of the impersonal Brahman. As a Brahman realized the South, she was freed from the designation of the materialistic concept of life. Thus, all material forms disappeared, and she attained a transcendental bliss.
Mm. So she was all metal planks, everything is disappeared, and she is realizing Supreme Lord. Engage the Supreme Lord and automatically realize impersonal Brahman. So because Supreme Lord contains all other features, so that is also mentioned that it includes everything. Yeah. Prabhupada focused on whole purport on that point, very big purport. But whenever the question, whenever that point comes, any time of any mention of impersonal Brahman, Supreme Lord, Prabhupada always focuses on these three aspects. Brahmani, avasthitamati, Brahmani. So in Brahman, Bhagavat Atma Samshraye. So both terms came. Brahmani, Brahman and Bhagavan words are came. So Prabhupada focused on those 2 points. Please read this highlight portion.
The previous verse states that Devahuti was already conversant with the absolute truth. It may be questioned why she was meditating. The explanation is that when one theoretically discusses the above discuss the absolute truth, he becomes situated in the impersonal concept of the absolute truth. Similarly, when one seriously discusses the subject matter of the form, qualities, pastimes, and entourage of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he becomes situated in meditation on Him. If one has complete knowledge of the Supreme Lord, then knowledge of the impersonal Brahman is automatically realized.
Yeah. So when we discuss about Supreme Lord, then he becomes situated in meditation on Supreme Lord. But one only theoretically discusses the absolute truth about Brahman. One is just an impersonal concept only. He is not into the highest truth. So that's a contrast Prabhupada bringing, and Prabhupada explains in detail about three aspects, various points. Brahmano Hari Pratishtha, how Brahman rests upon Krishna's form. Brahmano Hi Pratishtaham. Aham means Supreme Lord here. 14th chapter Bhagavad Gita. Aham, Supreme Lord Bhagavan. Brahmano Hi Pratishtaham. I am the supporter for Brahman. If I am supporting something that depends on me, that means that is not independent. That thing is not independent. So Brahman is not independent of Supreme Lord. So dependent on Supreme Lord. So the concept of personality of Godhead does not depend on Brahman. Rather, the Brahman is dependent on Supreme Lord. So it's a philosophical point Prabhupada always keeps on basically mentioning that personality is the main, personality is the one whom we need to take shelter, not impersonal Brahmajyoti or personal liberation. Another second point of this verse is that one has to observe the prescribed rules and regulations. Yuktahara viharasya shrishtakarmasya. And we need to follow all these rules and regulations whereby anardhini vritti happens. Continuation of how one is purified. The bodily necessities become secondary for the primary necessities engagement of the soul in real and spiritual life. The activities of devotional service in full Krishna consciousness are the cause of our being situated in transcendence. So these are the main cause is to engage. So bhakti has to be focused, especially when we are practicing bhakti. All other things will become secondary. Even vairagya also, detachment, renunciation, fasting, austerities, all are secondary. But bhakti means when we mention bhakti, when we hear the bhakti word, can you share something? What should reflect in our hearts when we say bhakti or devotional service? What generally reflecting upon when we hear bhakti? What it means? Bhakti means what? Engaging in bhakti, we say. The activities of devotional service, we say. When we say bhakti, what it means to you?
Devotional services like chanting, Harina, uh, deity worship,
Okay.
reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam.
Yeah, you're almost there. Correct. Correct. We remember immediately devotional limbs. Devotional limbs. Very good. Any other when you hear bhakti is what you
Shravanam,
understand.
Kirtanam, Vaishnav, Sparanam, Sadhanam,
Yeah,
Sevanam, Arjanam, Bandhanam, Dasam, Sakyanam.
correct. Yeah. Yes. Any other? When you hear bhakti, we need to engage in a bhakti. What anything that reflects
Seva, service,
service? Good points. Service to whom?
deities and devotees,
Service to deity, service to devotees, service to spiritual master, service to Vaishnavas. Yeah. Thank you. Any other? Bhakti. So bhakti has to be focused. Yeah, whenever we hear about bhakti means it's always should reflect in Navida Bhakti. Navida Bhakti is one of the main thing we need to reflect upon. Or we need to engage in bhakti means Now with bhakti. Also, the symptoms, how to practice bhakti is also we can reflect on the Sharanagati, 6 limbs of Sharanagati. Say bhakti, the backbone is Sharanagati. So the backbone is Sharanagati, and all the other things that are 9 process of devotional service is based on Sharanagati principles. That, that is the external form and internal form. So the moods of Sharanagati has to be exercised. All the 6 symptoms of Sharanagati we always hear. That is the also a backbone for bhakti. And external engagements, we always have this 9 process of devotional service. So these two combination has to be there when we hear about bhakti. So then they are all we have a good understanding of bhakti. All other things are secondary then. All the austerities, fasting for so many days, or maybe one day, so many hours fasting, so many days for fasting, not sleeping, doing so much of less sleep, less eating. So these are all different ways of austerities, not attached to anything of this world. We are very much detached from the material opulences. We are not very much attached to our house, our belongings, our laptops, or our bodies. So that is good. I mean, we are not saying this is not good. But the main thing is bhakti. Main thing is to practice devotional lives with the mood of Sharanagati. So of course that is also a result happens. The result comes of this practice. We are not attached to the bodies. We are not attached to the. We are more of more engaging in devotional service. So that is the main point here. Prabhupada mentioning that all the other things becomes secondary. So the famous pastime of milk drinking brahmachari, you might have heard in Chaitanya Leela. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't accept him initially. So he said, do you think that just by drinking milk only we can attain the perfection? Get out from here, he was saying. So Srivas Thakur thought that, okay, he is only drinking milk every day and is a perfect brahmachari and he can see Lord's dance. So he allowed him inside. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very angry. So that shows how austerities are not at all qualification for a bhakti process. Bhakti itself is a mood of loving and service to the Lord. All the nine limbs of devotional service with the mood of Sharanagati. That's the backbone of bhakti. So Prabhupada mentions that the activities of devotional service in full Krishna consciousness are the cause of our being situated in transcendence. That is the main cause. Sometimes Prabhupada also uses this term, devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. That means there can be devotional service without full Krishna consciousness. There can be devotional service with a half Krishna consciousness or empty Krishna consciousness or whatever may be. Full full means can be 100%, and it can be from 0 to 100, it can happen. So we need to come to the level of where we are doing in Aveda Bhakti, 9 limbs of devotional service, but in full Sharanagati mode, in full Krishna consciousness. Means that it's only for the pleasure of the Lord. It's only for pleasure of my spiritual master. It's not for my own enjoyment. Yeah, mixture means, as I mentioned last time, karma, jnana, yoga, mixture. The motivations can be mixed. Then it's not full Krishna consciousness. That is only maybe partly Krishna conscious. We are aspiring for some results, some rewards, some kind of whatever. Krishnath Kaviraj Goswami mentions this point that Kintu yadi latara sange utte upashak bhukti mukti vanchayata sankyatara lek when we are trying to practice devotion service, though we are watering with Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam is by water, but still the weeds will grow. What are the weeds? Bhukti Mukti Vanchayata Asankhya Tara like Bhukti, material enjoyment, Mukti, even spiritual salvation, Vancha, all the desires for material opulences, etc. Asankhya Tara like so many are there. निषिद्धाचार कूटिनटी जीव हिंसन पूजा लाभ प्रतिष्ठाति ये उपशाखागण. And these are all upashakas. Nishiddhachar, crossing the rules. Nishiddhachar, kutinati, envious nature towards other devotees. Last time we have seen Bhakta Dvisham, Abhaktam Bhakta Dvisham. Bhakta Dvisham means though he apparently has Bhakti Samskaras, but he has a dvesha towards enviousness towards other devotees. Oh, why he has to be empowered like this? And we came together in bhakti. Why he has become so high in terms of his reputation, in terms of his responsibilities? Everybody is taking his name only every time. Why can't I? So these kinds of feelings are not at all conducive. Putinati, Jiva Himsan, even what to speak of Jiva Himsan, even harming others physically. Then suddenly puja lava pratishtari upashakakan. Internally, we may not do external all these things, but internally, puja lava pratishtha, these are all also weeds. Upashakakan. So as long as they are there, then it's not fully Krishna consciousness. Then they will not be the cause for our being situated in transcendence. So only devotional service in full Krishna consciousness are the cause that we can be in transcendence. That means ahaitukiya pratata, that we can be really satisfied in the heart by the practice of devotional service. So that's the one of the main point that Prabhupada is bringing out here, saying that anartha nivritti, all these things are mentioned, rules and regulations, when she followed, heart is purified from all these anarthas, and she is practicing full devotional service in full Krishna consciousness, all the activities in full Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada explains all these yogas and their contaminations. So, 9 stages of the Prabhupada talks about here. There are 9 stages of devotional service: hearing, chanting, contemplating, all those things. But everything is existing in bhakti. We need not practice all other yogas. That's the main point. We don't need to practice other Ashtanga yoga, jnana, dhyana. So that was the main point. Text 27. Nityaruda samadhitvat paravrutta gunabhrama nas sasmara tadatmanam swapne drashtum ivottitaha. Now, what is the result of that practice? So till 26, the practice is described. Whatever Kapila Muni taught, Mother Devahati, she was practicing with great intensity. And what is the result of that practice? Please read.
Situated in eternal trance and freed from illusion, impelled by the modes of natural nature. She forgot her material body, just as one forgets his different bodies in a dream.
Mm. So just as one forgets in a different bodies in a dream, is different bodies in a dream. That's like after waking up, we don't remember. Of course, we may remember some glimpses of a dream. Generally, after some days it happens. Then what dreams? We know that some dreams coming, but we don't remember all the things what happened. So these are all just like after a spiritual awakening, someone will forget all this material world, material body itself. That kind of realization will definitely happen to everyone who practices with great sincerity and intensity. And when gradually one is growing in spiritual realization, one forgets about everything about material things. Of course, for our experience, we can understand only a movie theater, we can understand. When a person enters into movie theater, he forgets about everything material. I mean, material in the sense outside world. So that's how devotee is absorbed in a spiritual life. He forgets about everything about material aspects. That absorption takes a lot of time. That needs a really intense practice and a great purification of the heart and great attachment towards those whom we are connected to, spiritual master, superiors. Then only we can really forget everything else. Just like Prabhupada was absorbed in spiritual master instruction. There is no question of any other thing for him. So that's takes real sincerity and dedication and practice. Yeah, but it is possible. That's not impossible. That is possible. That's what is mentioned here. By her practice, she forgot about everything about material world itself. So Prabhupada explains on the same point. Is very much focused on that point. Nasasmara tadatmanam. She forgot everything about her material necessities. Please read. We will read the purport. It's very beautiful purport.
A great Vaishnava said that he who has no remembrance of his body is not bound to material existence. As long as we are conscious of our bodily existence, it is to be understood that we are living conditionally under the three modes of material nature. When one forgets his bodily existence, his conditional material life is over. This forgetfulness is actually possible when we engage our senses in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In the conditioned state, one engages his senses as a member of a family or as a member of a society or country. But when one forgets all such membership in material circumstances and realizes that he is an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord, that is actual forgetfulness of material existence.
Yeah. Read this one.
A devotee always merges in transcendental happiness, and therefore he has no experience of material distresses.
Mm. So a devotee is always, especially advanced devotees, they always forget about the material body means when we are saying about material necessities, material body means he not for himself anything. Everything is for the Lord, for the pleasure of the Lord. Everything for the pleasure of the Lord, for the pleasure of spiritual master. That's how initially Prabhupada disciples in 1967, 68, all the initial years, even later years also. So they are always absorbed in how to please Prabhupada, how to see smile on the face of Prabhupada. So that kind of absorption, that kind of a dedication is what made them advance so fast, so quick in spiritual life. They forgot about everything about external things, material, world itself. That's how they are absorbed in pleasing the Lord, pleasing the spiritual master. Taddeha parata posho apyakrishas shadya asambhavat abhau malair avachanna sa saduma eva pavakaha.
Her body was being taken care of the spiritual themselves created by her husband, Kardam, and since she had no mental anxiety at that time, her body did not become thin. She appeared just like a fire surrounded by smoke.
So this describes our condition at the time, practicing while practicing. Now please read.
Because she was always in transcendental bliss, the thought of the personality of Godhead was always carefully fixed in her mind. She did not become thin, for she was taken care of by the celestial maid servants created by her husband. It is said, according to the Ayurvedic medical science, that if one is free from anxieties, he generally becomes fat.
So when we are not in, when one is too much anxious, little anxieties make one go thin. He loses his health. anxiety is the root cause for health issues, material anxieties and all mind disturbances. So Prabhupada mentions she had no mental anxieties and material anxieties, so she did not become thin. Uh, Prabhupada brings out a beautiful point here. That it is customary in the renounced order of life that one should not take any service from a servant or maid, but Dehuti was being served by celestial maid servants. This may appear to be against the spiritual concept of life, but just as the fire is still beautiful even when surrounded by smoke, she looked completely pure, although it seemed that she was living in a luxurious way. So that was example is given just to show that she still is pure. Don't think that she is taking service from others and she is demanding or commanding others, making orders. No, she was just taking whatever is needed to maintain her austerities, her devotion, her devotional service. So that much she is only taking. Uh, There's a beautiful insights Prabhupada brings out. Swangam tapo yogamayam muktakesham gatambaram daivaguptam navobhute vasudeva pravishtadhi.
Because she was always observed in the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She was not aware that her hair was sometimes loosened or her garments were disarrayed.
So she was
In this
continue.
in this verse, the word Daivaguptam, protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is very significant. Once one surrenders unto the service of the Supreme Lord, the Lord takes charge of the maintenance of the devotee's body, and there is no need of anxiety for its protection.
अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जना पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम्. Vahami means I carry a load. Vahami means actually it's a burden. I carry that load of my devotees' maintenance. Of course, we hear a very famous story of Arjunacharya, the famous story of how when he heard this verse, when he was reading this verse, how personally he will carry. He will not carry personally. He may order, he may do it through material nature, but he doesn't personally do. He strike off that Vahamyaham. So we know a beautiful story how Krishna Balaram came with all the goods, and his wife was very much astonished that seeing the boys, blue and white boys came. And it's a beautiful story to understand how Krishna personally takes care of his devotees. That faith we need to gradually develop little by little, and we should be able to see Krishna's hand. And it's a fact that the more we surrender our Sharanagati principle, we exercise, the more we need to see Krishna's personal hand in our lives. Krishna takes care of when a devotee starts surrendering. That's what Acharyas also mentioned. We are not under the laws of nature. Everything happened to a devotee is only by intervention of Krishna only. Whatever may happen, it may happen. Many great things may happen, or many things may happen which we cannot even conceive of in our life. But it's definitely because as Krishna is intervening our karma, intervening or using the karma in our life. But it's Krishna's hand. It is in Krishna's hand now. All our files are on Krishna's table, not on Yamaraja's table or Chitragupta's table. Our files, especially when we surrender to spiritual master, or even when we are aspiring to practice bhakti, especially when we develop that kind of shraddha, what we talk about shraddha, Krishna is my Lord, I am his servant. I don't know anyone else. I don't want anything else. So when we are trying to exercise these kind of moods and feelings of Sharanagati, Rakshashyati iti Vishwasa, as it's mentioned here, Krishna will maintain, Krishna will protect. So Krishna is taking care of personally everyone, all the devotees. So that is the one of the main points.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, one question is there.
Yeah, please.
If now you said that if there is good thing, there is a hand of Krishna, or sometimes there is fall down of devotees. Even we see in our life that uh, whatever we are doing, we just come down from whatever we are
Correct.
doing. That
Correct.
means our devotional service is not steady or always increasing. Or so if there is a fall down like that things, then how can we say that this is there is a hand of Lord Krishna?
Yeah, especially when we are talking about fall down, the definition of fall down generally, it's a very, very strong word we use in ISKCON especially. Fall down means there are different levels, different understandings of fall down. Krishna will test a devotee, and test has to be there. And the test also comes at different levels. If a person, especially Krishna, sees that he's not advancing in this condition, or he is offending devotees in that condition, he may change the situation. He has to change the situation because at this point of juncture, Krishna, when he understands that he is unable to progress from this point, or is offending more and more the devotees, or is making more and more mischievous activities, he does in a way that we can learn lessons. But externally, it may appear that, oh, he went away from association. Fall down means this, especially we use the fall down word that when they are not at all, at least we can use that when they are not at all practicing devotional service, like chanting or hearing or doing not at all bhakti, just again in material things. That also we can externally we can say it's a fall down. But internally, if he has Shraddha, Krishna is there, Krishna will Krishna is there, and because of my conditionings, I'm trying to exercise my material desires. But if he is not having any envious nature or grudging nature towards devotees or devotional service, if he maintains that Shraddha is there still, it's not even fall down also. Externally, maybe he may be diverted for some time. But if one has a fall down, actually means losing Shraddha. That devotional service will not at all protect me, or I need to do something else. So when we talk about when devotees are not up to the standards, how we can see that it's Krishna is protecting. So our definition of protection, we need to broaden. How Krishna's protection, we need to broaden in the sense that when he sees that when he sees that devotee is unable to progress from this point, and then he changes the situation. Just like Bharat Maharaj, he saw that now he saw Bharat Maharaj is becoming too much attached. So then he put into body of deer. But at the same time, with the consciousness of previous lives. So then even the body of the deer, he was so focused that he's not even eating the fresh grasses. He thought fresh grasses eating is sense gratification. He was eating only dry leaves in the palahastram. So that is also protection of the Lord. That is but it is done by the Lord. Also later on, he again took birth as a Jada. He protected the consciousness. He was remembering everything. So Krishna may change the situations, and that also is according to Krishna's will. Some cases we may not remember. We may not remember, in the devotee may not remember that is Krishna's arrangement. But Krishna knows the overall plan, overall picture, overall map, how he's going to act and how he can learn some situations. So Krishna teaches, like just like a teacher teaches the student, if he is not learning in particular way, he may have to be taught in a different way, same lesson. So that is also teacher's kindness, teacher's love in a different way of expression. So in that way, we can see it's only Krishna's protection. Hope it makes some sense. Hare Krishna. Is it okay, Mataji? You have any
Yes,
further
Prabhu.
question?
Yes. No, thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Yeah. So Krishna's protection can be seen in different ways, different understanding. Yeah, but from an external point of view, it may not appear to be like that. But yeah, it's a Krishna is only orchestrating, especially in devotees' life who are dedicated for his cause. The Supreme Lord takes care of maintenance of the innumerable species of the bodies. Therefore, one who fully engages in his service will not go unprotected by Supreme Lord. Devahuti was naturally unmindful of the protection of her body, which was being taken care of by the Supreme Person. So that's a mood of a devotee. This is actually a mood of a devotee that whatever may happen in my life, so I will not leave bhakti. I will not leave the association of the devotees. I will not leave the practice of devotional service. That is called real Shraddha. Whatever may happen to my life. So, okay, we'll continue. एवं सा कपिलोक्तेन मार्गेणाचिरतः परम् आत्मानं ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं भगवन्तम् अवापः.
My dear
Some other
Vidura,
devotee any other devotee
My dear Vidura, by following the principles instructed by Kapila, Devahuti soon became liberated from material bondage and she achieved the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Super Soul without difficulty. May I continue?
Yeah.
Three words have been used in this connection to describe the achievement of Devahuti: Amanam, Brahma Nirvanam, and Bhagavantam. These refer to the grandful process of discovery of the absolute truth mentioned herein as the Bhagavatam. Bhagavantam.
Yeah.
Should
So, yeah, no. Atmanam, Brahman, Nirvanam, Bhagavantam. Prabhupada explains the same points about Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. All those three words are used. How she achieved Bhagavantam, the Supreme Lord. So there is also a Vaikuntha planet. Of course, Prabhupada mentions how she achieved Vaikuntha. I think Kapila Vaikuntha, Prabhupada specifically mentions. Kapila Vaikuntha, there is a innumerable Vaikunthas. Where the word is Bhagavantam Avapa. She achieved Bhagavantam, Supreme Lord. So that Bhagavantam is mentioned here as by Acharyas that it's Kapila Vaikuntha because she was meditating on Lord Kapila. So she didn't achieve any kind of Brahmasa. She didn't merge in Brahman. तद्वीरासीत् पुण्यतमं क्षेत्रं त्रैलोक्य विश्रुतं नाम्ना सिद्धपदं यत्र सा संसिद्धिम् उपेयुषी.
the place where Devahuti achieved her perfection, my dear Vidura, is understood to be a most sacred spot. It is known all over the three world as Siddha Pada.
सिद्धपद, yeah. तस्यास्तद्योग विदुतः मार्त्यं मर्त्यम् अभूत सरित् स्रोतसां प्रबला सौम्या सिद्धिदा सिद्ध सेविता.
Dear Vidura, the material elements of her body have melted into water and are now a flowing river, which is the most sacred of all rivers. Anyone who bathes in that river also attains perfection, and therefore all persons who desires perfection go bath there.
Okay, bathing in that. Her body became waters. So these are different kinds of perfections. Even Narottam Das Thakur, when he was leaving this world, material world, he transformed himself into milk. His body transformed into milk and merged in Padma river. So these are all different perfections of ways of great personalities. How they leave the body is really a different subject matter. But it is mentioned how she became a river. So then after her perfection, so she achieved the perfection of Kapila Vaikuntha, and her body became the river. And now continues with what Kapila did. The previous topic was taken up again. Kapila leaving the home. When Kapila left home, the home was described. Home and mother was described. After that, what Kapila did after leaving. So that is described in next few verses. Kapilopi Mahayogi Bhagavan Pitur Ashramat Mataram Samanujnapya Prag Udicim Disham Yayo.
My dear Vidura, the great sage Kapila, the personality of Godhead, left his father's hermitage with the permission of his mother and went towards the northeast.
Yeah, artist. Siddhacharana Gandharvair Munibhishchapsaro Ganai Stulyapanas Samudrenam Tattarhana Niketana.
While he was passing in the northern direction, all the celestial denizens known as Charanas and Gandharvas, as well as the Munis and the themselves of the heavenly planets, prayed and offered him all respects. The ocean offered him oblation and place of residence. It is understood that Kapila Muni first went towards the Himalayas and traced the course of the river Ganges, and he again came to the delta of the Ganges at the sea now known as the Bay of Bengal. The ocean gave him residence at a place still known as Ganga Sagar, where the river Ganges meets the sea.
Yeah, Ganga Sagar. Ganga Sagar. Aste yogam samastaya sankhyachair sankhyacharyir abhishtutah त्रयाणाम अपि लोकानाम उपशान्त्यै samahitah.
Even now, Kapila Muni is staying there in trance for the deliverance of the conditioned soul in the three worlds, and all the acharyas or great teachers of the system of Sankhya philosophy are worshipping him.
Jetannigiritam tata yatprushtoham tavanagha kapilascha cha samvado devahutyascha pavanaha.
My dear son, since you have inquired from me, I have answered. O sinless one, the description of Kapil Deva and his mother and their activities are the purest of all pure discourses.
Yayidam anushnoti yo vidatte kapilamuner matam atma yoga guhyam bhagavati kritadhi suparnaketa उपलभते भगवत पदारविंदम.
The description of the dealing of Kapiladeva and his mother is very confidential, and anyone who hears and reads this narration becomes a devotee of Supreme Personality of Godhead who is carried by Garuda, and he thereafter enters into the abode of the Supreme Lord to engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord.
Very wow. So this is the Falashruti. Shruti, when we hear what happens, what is the result? So this is explained here. Showing the goal of what was taught by Kapila to Devahuti by the results. The goal of what was taught by Kapila to Devati by results, it passes the destination of person similar to Devati. So this is the result. Already Devati achieved the result, and also emphasis more and more. Just show comment of. Are you able to see the document? I think okay. So there's a beautiful comment by Acharyas that saying that yo abhidatte matram, just by speaking abhidatte, just by giving or just by speaking, just by speaking this we can achieve the greatest result. Or just by hearing, yo va shunoti matram, just by hearing. And then what to kimuta, what to speak of anutishtati, by practicing it. By practicing it, what to speak of by practicing it? If just by hearing, just by speaking, if one can achieve highest perfection, then what to speak of practicing it? Yeah, yeah, kimuta taram means even more. Kimuta taram means taram means like a superlative degree. It's more second comparative degree. Tara tama. So Kimutataram Sri Devahutihi, Sri Devahutihi. So what to speak of Devahuti? So one who just by speaking, just by hearing, one can achieve perfection as mentioned in the verse. Then what to speak of practicing it? And what to speak of Devahuti? So she definitely achieved the highest perfection. That's what showed here. So how one can achieve the highest perfection? That's mentioned in these verses. So that's Bhagavad Padarvindam that is mentioned. So all the perfections are just by hearing, just by reading, sharing. So that's what Prabhupada also translates here, that the narration of Kapila and his mother Devati is so perfect, transcendental, so perfect transcendental, that even if only one hears or reads this description, he achieves the highest perfectional goal of life, for engages in loving service of the Lord Spirit. So then what to speak of Devahuti, proper translation. So there is no doubt that Devahuti, her son, who followed the instructions of Kapila so nicely, attained highest perfection of human life. Thus ends the Bhakti Vaibhava reports of third canto, the third chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Acts of Kapila. Andra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Kapil Muni Devahuti ki jai. So we come to the end of third canto. So I'm extremely grateful for all of you for tolerating me for all these weeks. But by the mercy of Prabhupada and all the acharyas, you could understand something from the Kapila section. The last part of the section, 31, 30th to 33, 4 chapters. How 30th to 32nd chapter describes more of different destinations of if one practices, one does activities in mode of passion, mode of ignorance. I'm just coming in 1 minute. So there was a lot of sound. So 30 to 32nd chapter, 3 chapters described about destinations of different people who practice in different modes that we discussed. in detail and the sufferings. Especially the seed verse is Janma Mritu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Doshana Darshanam, as Prabhupada mentioned. That one need to contemplate on these aspects. Basically, Mother Devahuti want to be detached from all these material world, sufferings of this world. By contemplating on them, one develops a detachment. That was the main point of the 3 chapters. How by hearing all these kinds of various miseries, from starting from womb to tomb, all the miseries are described. So all the miseries are described from womb to tomb, not only in the tomb, out of the tomb also. After the tomb, what happens? That is described in the first chapter, 30th chapter. How Yamarajas, the servants of Yamaraj, they deal with the living entity. After the tomb, what will happen? What the kind of sufferings, hellish sufferings they try to inflict upon the soul. Soul in the sense with the subtle body, and how he suffers in many millions of births, hellish births. And that's what described in the 30th chapter, and 31 chapter described about how in the destination of people in the mode of passion, especially human beings, how they suffer in the womb, out of the womb, in the boyhood, in the youth, in the old age. All the descriptions are very much described, but in between, how a devotee also, how a devotee's prayers are described in the womb of a mother. That's a beautiful section. What kind of these prayers can be? We are also in the womb of Mother Parvati or Mother Durga. The whole Brahmanda is like a womb. We are staying in the womb. So we can also offer prayers to the Lord, especially that prayer that, my dear Lord, because of your kindness, I am awakened to the Krishna consciousness. So let me express my gratitude. That was one of the important prayer. The sufferings are explained, many sufferings out of the womb, in the womb, etc. And especially the root cause is explained in that chapter. What is the root cause of that getting into the wombs? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Iha samsare bahudustare, krupaya pare, pahi murare. So that is the mood of a devotee. And then in the 32 chapter, how the identity, mode of goodness means the identity also makes one come back in this material life. So that is described. Though one may be going to the upper planets, Brahmaji planet also, but because of the pious activities, one may elevate it to higher planets. But if you have that identity, that I am the person, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I am the controller. Even to the extent of Brahmaji also, if he is identifying I am the creator, then he has to come back in the material world. So that was the subtle point that is described, entanglement in fruity activities. Though it's religious, though it's not against the scriptures, the previous mode of ignorance especially may not be according to the scriptures. Vihita karma, nishiddha karma. So karma, vikarma and akarma, when we discuss, vikarma means against scriptures. Karma means according to scriptures. So though the mode of goodness person doing according to scriptures, but still he has to come back if he is not identifying as a servant of the Lord, real identity. I am a soul, I am servant of the Lord. He has to come back. He has to also suffer in the sense that he has to, not exactly sufferings are focused here in this chapter, but one has to practice bhakti to elevate from all these conditions. That is main point. Oh, you are all doing karma, you are all doing all practicing shastras, wonderful. But you come to bhakti level, then only you will go out of the cycles of birth and death. That was Lord Kapila criticizing sakama karma, even nishkam karma, etc. Only bhakti. By bhakti only all goals are achieved. Please practice bhakti. Bhakti is emphasized always. Tasmat sarva bhavena. Bhajasva Parameshtanam Vasudeve Bhagavate Bhakti Yoga Prajita. So again and again, the bhakti is emphasized here in this chapter especially. So that's how bhakti is glorified. One has to practice bhakti. And whom to give, whom not to give. Kapila spoke all these things and he left. Then Mother Devahuti's chapter we have seen today. So that's a beautiful chapters and beautiful lessons. We seek prayers and blessings of all the Vaishnavas and seek forgiveness if anything is out of parampara, anything spoken harshly. So we beg forgiveness from all the Vaishnavas and seeking blessings to apply these teachings in our life, in my life. Hare Krishna. So one last beautiful verse I will share and I will pause here. What is the devotee's in general mood? Though when as we discussed mode of ignorance, lives, mode of passionate lives, mode of goodness lives, means various planets he is rotating around. But what is uh, what is a devotee's prayer? The beautiful verse is there. So there's a beautiful verse. I just want to share. So, okay, anyway, I'll just recite. Natha yoni sahasreshu yeshu vrajamyaham teshu achyuta bhakti achyutastu sada tvayi. He's saying that Natha yoni sahasreshu, my dear Lord, in whatever species I may be born, Natha yoni sahasreshu, thousands of species I may go around in this material world. Yeshu brajamyaham. Okay, you may go around. Then what do you want? Teshu achyuta bhaktir. Let in all species, wherever I am, upper, middle, lower planets, and whatever species I am in, teshu achyuta bhaktir. Let my devotion be unfailing. Achyuta bhaktir, never failing bhakti. Apratihata bhakti. Achyutastu sadatvayi, let it be fixed unto you only, my dear Lord. So that's the mood of a devotee. So we are not worried about which species we are in or which place we are in. That's the general desire of the devotee. That's what acharyas also pray that Pashu Pakshi hoye taki Swarge vaniroye Tava bhakti rahu bhakti Vinoda hridaye. You know, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, beautiful song. He says that Pashu Pakshi hoye taki Swarge vanaraye. Whatever, Pashu, Pakshi, Swarga, Naraka, whatever, my dear Lord, wherever I am, Tava Bhakti Rahu Bhakti Vinoda Hridaya. Vinoda Bhakti, Bhakti Vinod Hridaya. In the heart of the Bhakti Vinod, let your Bhakti be residing in the heart of Bhakti Vinod. So that's what he is praying for devotion. So this is the central theme of a devotee's mood. That he is not aspiring for particular choices where he is there, but he's showing the emphasis on Bhakti. So how Bhakti is so precious and rare. So these are all beautiful verses of Acharyas revealing the glory of Bhakti. Though may not be at that level of, but relish, at that level of relish, but we can see how they are so convinced, they are so experienced and so relishing the Bhakti that whatever species we are in, we only want to render service to you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai. We pause here.
Hari
Thank you very
Bol.
much.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you,
Guruji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.